Today we're taking a trip into the absurdly antiquated world of British jurisprudence by counting down the 10 mind-bendingly weird UK laws that are actually still on the books. Because the British legal system is built on centuries of uncodified tradition rather than a clean modern constitution, their law books are cluttered with bizarre medieval edicts and Victorian public order panics that were never officially repealed. For an outside observer, reading their legal code feels less like studying modern democracy and more like deciphering a comedy sketch written by the Westminster Legislative Theatre. At number 1 is handling salmon under suspicious circumstances. I always stumble about the word salmon because as a German I always want to really say out loud the L. But it is handling salmon under suspicious circumstances. And thanks to Section 32 of the Salmon Act of 1986, it's a criminal offence in the UK to hold or receive the specific fish if you suspect it was illegally poached. While meant to deter black market trade, the phrasing means that simply carrying a fish while looking shiftily side to side could theoretically get you arrested by the Crown's blue-coated guardians. And if you think that's fishy, look at number 2, carrying a plank of wood on a London pavement. Under the Metropolitan Police Act of 1839, it is strictly illegal to transport any unprocessed structural timber, ladders, wheels or casks, along a public footpath unless you are loading them into a vehicle. It was designed to keep the narrow, crowded streets of Victorian London clear, but technically still makes DIY enthusiasts criminals today. Next, at number 3, is the ban on importing Polish potatoes. Thanks to the highly specific Polish potatoes order of 2004, it's illegal to bring Slavic nightshade tubers into England or Wales unless you have formally notified inspectors beforehand. And this bizarre piece of agricultural paranoia was put in place to prevent the spread of ring rot, creating a strangely targeted culinary customs barrier. And then we have number 4, shaking your rug in the street after 8 a.m. According to the very same 1839 Police Act, beating a carpet, rug or mat in a public thoroughfare is a finable offence once the clock strikes 8. You are, however, graciously permitted to shake a doormat, but only before 8 a.m., showing how precisely the British state regulates morning dust. At number 5 is sliding on ice or snow. The Victorians apparently hated winter fun, making it illegal to slide on frozen streets if it causes a nuisance to other pedestrians. Doing so risks a hefty fine from the local authority, proving that even gravity and bad weather are subject to the state's ancient parchment scribblers. This strict regulation of public joy escalates at number 6 with a ban on flying a kite in public. Under the Town Police Clauses Act of 1847, flying a kite or playing any game that annoyingly occupies the street is outlawed. And this turns a simple childhood hobby into an act of low-level public defiance. Which brings us to number 7, entering Parliament in a suit of armour. Dating all the way back to 1313 under King Edward II, the statute forbidding bearing of armour strictly prohibits any member of the public or nobility from entering the legislative buildings wearing chainmails, helmets, or a full steel plating. At number 8 is keeping a visible pigsty. According to Victorian public healthy laws, keeping swine in the front of your house is illegal unless it is completely shielded from public view, meaning any British farmer who lets their pigs wander onto the highway faces immediate prosecution. At number 9 is sounding a horn or steam whistle to collect passengers. Taxi and carriage drivers are legally barred from using loud noisemakers to advertise their services or attract customers, meaning that noisy modern-day rideshare drivers are technically violating 19th century peace and quiet statutes. And finally, at number 10 is being drunk in charge of a horse. Under the Licensing Act of 1872, it is a serious offence to be intoxicated while operating a carriage, steam engine, or indeed riding a live horse on a public highway. Ultimately, these historic legal relics show that while the British pride themselves on their modern society, they are still living under the shadow of a very weird, dusty, and delightfully eccentric past. And if you want to know more about this, you know where to hit. Until the next round.